What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Franky N Davis Podcast. This is the podcast where both Franky and I have probably logged thousands of hours of watching anime. Is that right?
More than thousands, like millions.
Maybe like thousands of hours, millions of hours of anime, but neither of us know a lick of Japanese. And it's the podcast where we get together and we talk about whatever we want.
Woohoo!
My name is Davis. With me, as always, Franky.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Franky. What's new?
What is new? I remember probably a week or two ago, I was talking about my brother building his little room in the back.
Yeah. How's that going?
Yeah, he actually finally completed it.
He does it pretty fast, actually.
Yeah, it was actually really fast. Like you actually walk in the back and you look at it, like it has all the he put in the flooring, the whole building, like he put like two side doors to the left, he put like two big windows in the back, one window to the left and another door exit to the right, and everything's already painted. It looks really super nice. I was like, holy crap.
Wait,
dude.
he did this all by himself?
No.
Did he hire people?
Yeah, he actually hired someone. There's no way he's gonna do that by himself.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like, oh man, that was really fast if he did it all by himself. But okay, that makes a little bit more sense, I guess. But nice.
Yeah, the only thing that's left is to do is I guess he's gonna make the outside stucco. So he threw some of this metal mesh on the back of the wall.
Okay.
And then he's gonna paint some cement onto it, or not paint, but put on cement. Then he's gonna put the stucco on top of it, and pretty much it'll be done after that.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it's pretty fucking amazing. I'll probably take some pictures and throw it on the website later to show the new room.
Nice. So, what is the room used for? Or gonna be used for?
We're planning to throw like a little bed in there, then some lights, and throw a video camera and do like a little porn shoot. You know how it goes. So
excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah, we're doing our underground porn ring.
Well, hopefully not too underground. We want to be successful. So,
but no, that room's supposed to be I guess more like a living room type, and then the current living room will be more of a dining room where to eat. So
gotcha.
I mean, when it's done, I mean, I'll take more pictures after that and probably post it on the website so everyone can check it out. So it's pretty nice. What about you?
Not too much. Just about maybe about a week or a week and a half ago, I got terribly ill. I don't know if you remember that or not. But
yeah, I remember that where you brought out those medicine.
Yeah. That's weird because actually it was after that I got sick. At that point in time, it was just I had a cough that I always get. But I ended up getting really sick. I don't know exactly what I got, but I was out of commission for like a solid 3 days. I think 2 days I was just stuck in bed. I didn't eat or anything. I just laid there. And then finally on the third day, I started waking up and I started feeling just a little bit better. And I remember going into the restroom and like, oh God, I got to rinse off or something, So I washed my face and I looked in the mirror and I swear I must have lost like 10 pounds or something because I looked like, even just in my face, it was like Skeletor, and my whole body was like, I mean, I'm small anyways, but it was even worse. I was like, oh no. But
do you ever do the stare down at the, when you look in the mirror, just look at yourself and it's like, but you never win though? It's like, fuck, all right, you win this time.
No, I always win, Franky. I always win. Nah, I never. I did. I don't know what that is.
You never done that?
What do you mean by the stare down?
You never. I mean, if when you're sick or you feel a little bit woozy, and then you take some medicine, and you feel a little bit more woozy.
Okay.
And then you end up going to the bathroom, and then you do your business, taking shit or piss or whatever. Then you just look in the mirror. It's like, and you feel this wooziness, but at the same time you just look in the mirror and you stare at yourself, and you have a stare down contest. And you're just looking, and it's just like, oh man, I'm gonna beat you, and you just sit there for like the next 5 minutes. Like, oh fuck this shit, you win.
I haven't done that, but I think I'll try it actually next time. So next time I'm heavily medicated, I'm gonna go in the restroom. I'm gonna be successful, hopefully. I end up just like kissing myself in the mirror, like,
hey baby,
hey handsome. But it's kind of double-edged, right? Because being sick sucks, obviously.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I kind of oddly like is being sick is I get to like just relax and watch like stuff,
Yeah.
So what I generally do, and like we talked about earlier, is we watch a lot of anime, and I've been watching a whole bunch of anime recently, and a lot of times I end up running out of new things to watch.
Yeah.
So I start going back and I start figuring, well, maybe there's something old that I watched before that I really enjoyed and that I want to revisit and watch again. Like one of the most notable series is Death Note.
Oh yeah, Death Note's pretty they're actually pretty big. And I actually never finished it.
You what? What?
I watched up to the gay scene.
What gay scene?
I don't know. I remember this part was like a this gay scene where I guess was it L? I forgot what it was.
Yeah,
and
L.
then there was some at a pool or something, and the one of the guys were trying to hit on the other guy.
I don't remember that. Actually.
I can't remember the whole story, but that was the last part I left out. I was like, okay, I'm turning this off for now.
Oh man, don't be put off by the gay scene. That anime is amazing, and it's not about, well, you know, but
it was not about being gay. When you're for the audience out there, it's not about an anime being gay, but I mean, it's about a guy writing in a notebook and killing people and all that. But
right, it's very supernatural, but it's really psychological.
Yeah.
There's a whole ton of crazy mind games and stuff, so it's an excellent anime. But that's one of the ones I always go back and revisit because I always enjoy watching it again. Yeah. So I decided, well, I got nothing else to do. You know, I'm trying to recover, so let's go back, look at some like old anime. So I just started going down a list and just looking through, just watch this, watch that, and then I bumped into Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh,
so that is an absolute classic in my book.
That I totally remember watching that anime back in the days when we used to run. Was it? At the donut shop, actually. It was me, Ro, and one of my buddies, and he got it into anime too. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, right before we, you know, start baking donuts and do what we gotta do, we have our little computer in the office, and we just watch anime, and we just watch, you know, Full Metal Alchemist, and it was probably one of the best animes I watched by far. Mm-hmm. I personally think it could be a real movie itself. Like if someone created as a real movie and there's actors in there, it would be an amazing storyline.
You think if it was made by an American film company, that it would be good, or you think they'd butcher it somehow?
They might butcher it. I don't know. I really don't know. I wouldn't say American people, but it all depends on like the artist or whoever's creating it, and I don't think they'll butcher it.
Now I haven't seen it, but I only bring it up because Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. There was a live action film done.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
See, I didn't see it just because when looking at the trailers and stuff, it was like, you know, palm face, and I was like, oh my, no! It just, every bit of me was like so angry. I was like, oh God. And I don't think it did well. And I think a lot of, you know, DBZ fans were like, how dare you do that to my anime that I love? Like, and that's what I'm always worried about. Same thing with like video game movies, right? When there's a video game, it's like, oh my God, Metal Gear Solid would make the most incredible movie. Yeah. And if they came out with it, it would be junk. You know, they just like totally like screw up like the characters and like, and I mean, I kind of understand because, yeah, you're cramming 40 hours worth of story into an hour and a half. Yeah. And you got to make compromises somewhere. But it's like a lot of times they can't keep the spirit of like the original stuff going.
That's the hard part where you got to think about, okay, if there's any books or manga or, you know, animes that you watch, it's hard to create a story of the same exact thing where you're going to have to change the storyline. So there's gonna be people that's gonna like, hey, this is gonna be the exact same storyline, why am I watching this? Or if you change it too much, then people's gonna like, hey dude, it's completely off, and people's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, that's true. I'm never happy is what I'm saying. So
I guess you got to make two movies then.
Yes, one that's legit and then one that isn't, and then maybe you make a third that's like somewhere in between, so
everyone's happy.
Yeah, you have 3 different movies of the same thing but not the same thing, if that makes any sense. But no, anyway, so
then you're what? All the viewers gonna be like, dude, this guy is just trying to make money now. So you know they're gonna be pissed off and shit. Like, this guy's just making anything now.
I would watch all 3 Full Metal Alchemist movies just to see which one I like, and I'd end up not liking any of them either. So that just lets you know who I am. So, but going back to Full Metal, so yeah, both you and I love that anime. And the thing with Full Metal Alchemist was that they released the anime, and then later on they decided to release the anime again, but they ended up calling it the Brotherhood series.
Yeah.
And I believe that was supposed to be more true to the original manga.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was completely superior to the first Full Metal Alchemist. I thought it was almost better in like almost every single way, actually. Like you saw Brotherhood?
Yeah, I saw both. I remember. I mean, I like both, but the thing is, like, on anything in general, where when you watch something first, you get used to that.
Sure,
And then when you watch something else, it throws you off. Like, oh, hey, this is not the storyline. What's going on? You know? It's like when someone reads a book and then they go watch a movie. They're like, dude, they missed so much crap in there, and they didn't put it in there, and they didn't put certain things. Where's the love scene? Where's the sex scene? Where's blah blah blah? And it kind of ruins it. But I actually watched both of them, and they're both amazing. Actually,
Okay.
I actually like both of them a lot.
Yeah, I'll give it that. You know, when I originally watched the first Full Metal Alchemist,
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. When I watched the second one, I was like, this is even better. So it's not like, oh, I think the old one's garbage now. It's the old one's still good, but I just think the newer one is just superior in a sense. So, but yeah, so I was like, Full Metal, saw that, and it brought back all these memories and stuff.
Definitely.
And I was like, oh man. And then, you know, so I started watching the series over again, and I tend to skip like kind of the beginning because I already kind of know the story and I want to hit the action moments and stuff.
Yeah.
So I started watching it, and then I started thinking to myself, alchemy, right? Like Full Metal Alchemist. And I know, like, up until this point in time, like, basically all of my knowledge of alchemy was actually from Full Metal Alchemist.
You just make a circle, put your hand down,
slap your hands together, put it down on the ground, and you have
something comes up.
a stone statue of yourself.
Or you snap your finger and a fire pops out.
Yep. And there's homunculus, which are people that aren't people, but no. So everything I knew about alchemy, and the kind of, you know, I knew a little bit about like the medieval alchemy dudes, like, you know, wizards and stuff, kind of, but I never really knew anything about it. So in my, like, you know, night quill like haze of being like trying to recover and being sick and watching
and
it,
staring in the mirror, trying to have a staring contest.
I started thinking like, hey, I never really looked into alchemy before. So I was thinking, well, why don't I do some research and let's make that a topic to talk about. So alchemy. So I guess going back to Full Metal, so for anyone that hasn't seen it before, I guess I'll explain a little bit about it. But it's basically cartoon, anime, Japanese cartoon that's about these two brothers, the Eric brothers, they're called. They basically trained in alchemy. And what they did was when they were children, they performed what was considered like a major sin.
Yeah.
And that was human transmutation. And they tried doing it because their mother ended up dying, and they wanted to resurrect her.
Yeah.
And because it's forbidden, what happened was that not only were they punished in the sense of failing the human transmutation, but the younger brother, Alphonse, or Al,
Alfonso, I believe.
Alphonse.
Oh, it's Alphonse. Okay.
Yeah, but they call him Al for short.
Okay, yeah.
Al lost his entire body during that process.
Yep.
And then older brother Edward, or Ed, Al and Ed, he lost his right arm and his left leg during all this like chaos. And what Edward did was he ended up sealing his brother's soul into an old suit of armor.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting his limbs replaced with what they call automail in the anime, which is like a robotic replacement arm.
Or prosthetic.
Yeah, a prosthetic arm, yeah. Hey, you used to deal with prosthetics.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, actually, I deal with all prosthetic back in the days. And it was kind of cool because like I watched, you know, the Full Metal Alchemist back in the days. And when I got into prosthetic and orthotics as one of my careers, it was kind of funny. I was like, oh crap, dude, this is like Full Metal Alchemist stuff. I was like, I'm gonna chop off my own arm and throw a freaking prosthetic arm on.
Talk to the president of the company. It's like, hey, did you watch Full Metal Alchemist? Is this where you got the idea from?
Yeah, then it's pretty cool. It's interesting how like the way technology is kind of changing now, where dude, you could just throw a robotic leg on it, kind of helps maneuver, and you could start walking. There's people in the Olympics, you know, throw like fake legs on or prosthetic legs on. Dude, it's crazy how like we are progressing as a human thing, where, you know, we're fucking cutting. Well, I mean, we're kind of walking on crutches now. We have like prosthetic legs and stuff. So It's nuts out there, you know.
Sooner or later, we're gonna reach the point of Full Metal Alchemist, though.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah,
that's when
I'm waiting for auto mail.
I really want to cut off my leg when that happens.
So, Edward ended up replacing his limbs, and then I guess from throughout this whole podcast, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna try not to reveal too many plot twists or anything. So kind of spoiler alerts, I guess, for people that haven't watched it. It's just like the little disclaimer I'm gonna give you guys, but we won't touch into like too many of the really, really important stuff or the surprises. But
nah, screw that. They all died.
Oh no, Franky!
I'm kidding. I really don't remember the ending.
Yeah, but from that point on, their quest in life was to retrieve Al's body back, and then get Ed's original limbs back.
Yeah.
And I guess here's what we're going to talk about then is comparing the differences between Full Metal Alchemist and real alchemy is what I wanted to do, basically.
Okay.
So, I guess my first question is like, what is alchemy, right? That was the first thing I was thinking, because I knew a little bit about it, but I wasn't sure. So I want to ask you the same question to see what your like knowledge of alchemy is just right now.
Oh, just like what you said before earlier. I mean, the only knowledge that I know about alchemy is from Full Metal Alchemist, and I didn't know it's a real thing though out there. And the only thing I could come up to my head is like the anime would just create like circles and stuff, and you trade or not trade, but you make an equivalent trade of like a screwdriver, for example. You have enough certain amount of metal or plastic in a transmutation, or not transmutation, but
yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah, okay. And then you just pretty much do some kind of magic and it'll come out into a screwdriver, as long as you have the equivalent trade of it.
Okay. But thinking of like, let's say, real or historical alchemy, that's not what you think it is.
Oh, no. In a real way, I mean, I'm just assuming magic. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Some kind of sorcery magic back in the days when people think of, when witches and stuff were real.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Fair enough. So essentially what alchemy is that I guess it's this weird mix of like kind of all the stuff that you kind of talked about, actually, because it was a spiritual thing.
Okay.
People considered it like an art. People considered it magic. And it was kind of like a precursor to like basic like science and stuff too, actually. But essentially, an alchemist would be experimenting with like taking what they would consider like a base or a common material. Yeah. And like, let's say lead, for example. Yeah. And through a series of processes, what they would do, and they refer to these processes as like the magnus opus, which is called the great work. Okay. And they could transmute a material of a lower quality into a higher quality. So, or what they would do is, let's say, combine herbs to make some sort of elixir or something.
Oh, okay. So they just combine like lower end herbs, and somehow that turns into a greater and better herb, or antidote, or whatever they're trying to make.
Yeah, okay. Essentially. So they're taking lower things and then making it kind of like a better thing.
I don't know why, but I know this is kind of off topic, but it kind of reminded me of Resident Evil. When you combine the herbs together in the game, and then you make this little can spray thing, and you spray yourself, and you just heal up.
It's honestly like that, actually. That is alchemy.
Okay.
So in Resident Evil, Chris, when you combine those, it was the green, the yellow, and the red one, and you get that canister. Yeah. Full health. So, I wouldn't be surprised if part of that came from that, because essentially that's what it is. And it's interesting because it's all really mystical too, which I really like. I always like those, kind of not sci-fi, but out there and really weird kind of spiritual, esoteric stuff. And it was definitely that. But like I said, it did actually heavily influence like material sciences and early forms of chemistry even.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So going into like the history of alchemy itself. So it was rumored, or it was actually like kind of mentioned in like ancient like Chinese records and stuff, where there was an alchemist by the name of Lao Tzu, or if you want me to pronounce it in Chinese, Lao Tzu.
Lao Tzu.
Lao Tzu. I don't know if that's how you say it, but that's how I say it. So he was supposedly given supernatural powers, and he was able to create an elixir of life.
Wow, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really happened.
Dude, imagine you could actually do that. Hell yeah, dude. You can make crazy, like, start make some alchemy, and dude, you can sell that thing for like $1 gazillion, dude.
Yeah.
Turn someone back to life.
I guess it was an elixir to either extend their life or for immortality almost.
Yeah.
And then I guess in the 1900 BC, Egyptian kings Hermes Trismegistus, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, he was believed to be the founder of alchemy, actually.
Oh, really?
And he created what was called the Emerald Tablet. And that was known to be like basically the primary document of alchemy.
Okay.
So, and
what is this emerald thing? Is it like a mixture of different items, or is it like an actual emerald, or what is it?
So I guess what it is that no one's ever seen it.
Okay.
It's only been mentioned in literature from the past. It was believed to be almost kind of like a not like an iPad, a tablet. Come on, Frankie, made of emeralds, bling. So
Bling, bling.
It was like, if you think of like the 10 Commandments, right?
Yeah.
There's like those slabs of stone and there's like written instructions on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. So it was like this emerald, like, piece of
Okay.
slab, and it had like things written on it.
Okay.
But it was believed that this emerald held all of the secrets to transmutation on it. And it
Okay.
was actually first mentioned in a book written in Arabic between like the 6th and 8th centuries. And the text was translated into Latin around the 12th century. And then that was actually around the time where alchemy was introduced over to Europe.
Oh, okay.
And that started becoming like the more commonly known alchemy, like the European or medieval alchemy.
Yeah.
So that's the most well-known alchemy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So moving on to like comparing the two between Full Metal and like real alchemy, right? We covered a little bit of the history and stuff of like real alchemy, and a couple of the really big things in Full Metal Alchemist. So the first one is the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember what the Philosopher's Stone was in Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah, I definitely remember it was like some kind of red stone, and then during the beginning of the anime, people would use the power to like create different things. Then later down the line, they found out that the Philosopher's Stone was actually made from
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler, turn it off. Well, actually, yeah, then the Philosopher's Stone will actually turn into, or was from like people or dead people, or they will kill the people and take their energy or some kind of life form and put it into the Philosopher's Stone, then use that as magic. And that's the only thing that I could kind of remember from the Philosopher's Stone.
You hit it pretty much on the head.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
but I'll go ahead and reiterate on that. So basically, in Full Metal Alchemist, the Philosopher's Stone, it was considered like a powerful transmutation amplifier.
Oh, okay.
So it seemed to grant its users the ability to like bypass the laws of equivalent trade. So that was what you kind of touched on a little bit earlier, and we'll touch on it a little bit later too when we get to that.
Okay.
But the stone, like you said, it was created with human souls.
Yeah.
Anywhere from like a few to possibly even millions, and depending on the amount of souls that were used, the stronger the abilities the stone could essentially grant the user. And then the stone's like physical appearance in the anime. Do you remember what it kind of looked like? Or
It kind of looked like a oval, I think.
okay,
That's something I could remember.
color.
It was like reddish color. Yeah, like looked like a jewelry type of material.
Okay, yeah. That's exactly right. So, and it actually took on a couple different like features. So, it anywhere from like it was shown as, I believe, like a liquid. So
I don't remember that one actually.
So it was Dr. Marco.
Yeah.
He had it in a little glass vial, and in that form, it was a red like liquid. It looked like, because it would shake around.
Yeah. Is he the one that created that little girl?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay. I was thinking of a different one.
That was sad too. Anyway, but he was the one that I guess did a lot of was forced to do like experimentations on people to try to create the Philosopher's Stone.
Okay.
But anyways, so there's the liquid form, and then there's like this rough kind of shard shape.
Yeah.
Like it looked like a chip of like a stone. There's also a ball form.
Yeah.
And then I think like in its finest form was like a nice solid like gem, or like kind of like a really fancy looking like diamond or gemstone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I guess generally when it was either in its form smaller or less solid, it was less powerful in a sense.
Okay.
And one of the things was, like we said, the color was like a deep red, and it was almost like a blood type color.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe that was kind of hinting towards like, you know, like people, and you have blood inside you and stuff, and it's kind of like part of you, and that's why it's that deep red color.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have noticed it was from human or anything until I started watching the anime more and more. And then start, releasing the storyline, and then start finding out, like, oh no, it's made from humans, no! And then, a little bit teary-eyed from it. It was pretty sad. So, like we said earlier, you definitely should, download the anime and watch it. It's a pretty good storyline.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, highly suggest it. But, okay, so now that covers the Philosopher's Stone in Full Metal Alchemist, right?
Yeah.
So, in Alchemy, now, one is, do you think there's a Philosopher's Stone in actual alchemy?
In, like, real life?
Yeah.
In my opinion, no. I don't think there is.
But there is, Franky. No, I'm just kidding.
Is there?
No.
What? All right, let's go. It's going to be the Franky N Davis Philosopher's Stone search. Go out there and just searching for the Philosopher's Stone, dude. That'd be amazing.
Or a big suit of armor. Damn, this thing's heavy. So you don't think there's actually a Philosopher's Stone?
No, I personally don't think there is.
Okay. Well, I'm here to blow your mind, Franky, because there is a Philosopher's Stone in real life alchemy.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not obviously it's not the Full Metal Alchemist one. But
okay.
You want to take a wild guess at what the Philosopher's Stone in real alchemy is?
They found a big chunk of jewelry in a mountain somewhere, and they just dug it out, and bam, and just there it is.
Okay, actually,
that's something I could think of.
okay, that's not a bad guess, I guess, because like the Emerald Tablet, per se,
yeah.
Okay, but essentially, the Philosopher's Stone in alchemy, it's considered like the crowning achievement that like an alchemist, it's like his main goal, I guess. It's weird because some people considered it like a physical object.
Okay.
So, for example, like the Philosopher's Stone could be a substance that would change, let's say, lead into gold. Okay. Or like an elixir or some sort of like formula to make, like immortality elixir or elixir of life even.
So I do have a certain question since you kind of brought that up. I mean, does alchemy has to result into something that's kind of like an elixir or curing or whatever it is, or can it be something where along the lines where you melt metal and then you turn that into like a statue? Would that be considered alchemy? Or not?
To melt?
Yeah, well, let's say you melt some kind of metal in really hot degree, like lava or whatever, then you melt that and you pour it into a shape of a statue, and then when it cools down, it'll be a shape of a statue when you pull it out.
Okay.
Is that considered alchemy?
No. Okay. In that sense, no, because then all you're doing is you're just melting a compound or a metal.
But let's say we kind of mix that with gold in a mix of, with metal. Would that be considered like alchemy too? Because you're kind of mixing the two to make the compound stronger and looks better.
Maybe because you're at that point you're kind of you're slightly improving it, but I think it's more of like completely changing it into something that's better.
Oh, okay. So a completely different compound.
So if they put in like an additive or something to, let's say, make something more like structurally stronger, I don't know, maybe during that time maybe it would have been considered it, but their goal would be, rather than adding something to make it a little bit stronger, they want to like completely change it to make it like a whole new element or something in a sense.
And I do have a question. What time frame was this in?
Like
when they started doing kind of alchemy, was it like 19?
No,
not 19s, but that'd be kind of crazy. But like 1800s, 1700s, 1600s,
like the 12th, around the 12th century. Oh, okay. Like for European alchemy.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it was rumored to be back in like the 6th and 8th century even.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so old school, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, that's super old school.
Yeah. But going back to that, so there's it'd be considered something like the substance for turning lead to gold, creating an elixir of life, or it's that was like kind of the physical thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's that. So I guess as far as its appearance of this so-called substance or the Philosopher's Stone,
Yeah.
it was actually believed to be generally in two colors.
Okay.
So one would be white and the other would be red, actually.
Okay.
So I guess Full Metal kind of got that right, where it's red. And actually with the white being the less mature version of the two.
That makes kind of sense. Where, I mean, if you kind of stick to the storyline, I guess, of the anime, where if you kind of get like it's not the white, form is not technically in the anime, but if you kind of start filling it up with souls, it turns more red in a sense, and then be more purity.
Yeah. So maybe maybe the anime pulled from that.
Yeah.
But it was also like it was supposedly said that it could be ground into like a powder. And then from that point, it would be orange.
Did they sniff it? This is pure stuff right here.
Philosopher's Stone. Get me going. But if it was ground, supposedly it would be kind of like an orange color. If it was in its stone form, it would be between like a red and a purple color.
Okay.
And even like considered like almost like a transparent, like glass type of look.
Okay.
So I was surprised that like, hey, actually that's how it was depicted in, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. It just reminded me of you saying all these like kind of shards and glasses and stuff. It kind of reminded me of Breaking Bad, where they break out the meth onto the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Then they just break it out, then it's selling on the street. Like, hey, you want some meth or what?
And back in the day, that would have been considered alchemy because, they're taking these powders, liquids and stuff. They're through a process, making something different, smashing it up, and they're essentially making blue Philosopher's Stones.
Imagine how crazy that would be. Like that someone actually back then know how to make meth, and they're just like selling it to the king. Like, hey, king, here's some meth, and dude, that'd be nuts.
I wouldn't be surprised because like old tribes and stuff, like they smoke things to get high or whatever, and they believe that it's a spiritual thing. So it's possible. Who knows?
I could kind of see that too. It's like when you get really super high in stone, you get like a really like spiritual feeling. So I guess I kind of been there once, but that's for another podcast.
But going back to the Philosopher's Stone, so I guess as far as like creating the stone, there's been like a bunch of different interpretations, and generally it's described as like going through a series of color changes. So it initially starts off with like a black, going to a white, an orange, a red, or it's a chemical process, which is generally described to go through like 7 or 12 stages.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
So I don't know. It's all kind of rumored and stuff, but that's generally what is described as far as like creating this Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I thought was pretty interesting was that not only was it some people considered it a physical thing, but some people actually considered it self-improvement, actually. So if you think of, let's say, changing lead to gold, you're taking something that's essentially worthless and making it valuable, right?
Yeah.
Or you're making the ugly beautiful.
Yeah.
And with, alchemy and alchemists, they're heavily influenced by like a lot of spiritual things and like constellations and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So they believe that you could change yourself in a similar way, through spirituality and intellectually as well too.
Yeah.
So some consider the stone to be like actually self-improvement. I'm improving myself. I'm becoming better. I'm becoming more intelligent, and this and that. So
okay.
Yeah,
so
I thought that was kind of a cool thing too.
That's pretty cool. I forgot what it's called, where it's kind of you kind of psychologically convincing yourself, where it's like, okay, I'm wearing this pants. I look better. I feel better. I'm gonna go out there and feel 100% now. It's kind of like that, like it's like a psychological thing where you trick yourself into it. Well, this alchemy thing where, hey, if I make this alchemy stone and use it, it's gonna make me feel like 100% better now, or whatever it is.
Yeah, this is possible.
Yeah. So it kind of reminded me of that in a sense. But I mean, if we use technology today and look back at the storyline back in that time, we're just like, oh, that's a bunch of BS. But if you were living back then and you actually did that stuff, those were the actual things that you actually believe in. So
yeah, because you really didn't have any other way to like fact check it.
Yeah. They didn't have Google, so like us. So
yeah, it sucks for them.
Suckers.
And I guess one of the last things that the Philosopher's Stone was considered to be was what they called the fifth element.
What's that?
It's that movie with Bruce Willis and that one woman, and they go around and... No, I'm just kidding. No.
I was about to say, I'm like, hey, man, did they a storyline? I can't remember that movie.
So one of the things that alchemists believe in were the four main elements, which is earth, fire, water, and air.
Okay.
And some considered that the Philosopher's Stone was actually what was called the fifth element. And that would be the element that all the other elements come from.
Like combined?
No.
What do you mean come from?
It's because they kind of believe that there's one thing that creates everything.
Oh, okay. So
it would be this one element that from that element you create earth, you create fire, you create water, you create air, So it's like the supreme element.
Okay, so the head honcho, the god element in a
sure.
sense.
The Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, okay.
Some of them considered it that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was essentially the Philosopher's Stone in real alchemy versus Full Metal Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, some of the things they actually Full Metal Alchemist got kind of right. Like they got the color, they got some of the shapes and stuff. Like So I thought that was pretty neat.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah.
Yep. So one of the next things I wanted to compare was the equivalent trade. So laws of equivalent trade. So that was what you talked about, or equivalent exchange. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you want to recap on what your memory of the laws of equivalent exchange in Full Metal Alchemist was?
Yeah, I remember where you have to get an equivalent of, like, if you get a screwdriver and you have to get a certain amount of metal, a certain amount of plastic, and pretty much in the anime you make some kind of circle and they put the hand on the ground or whatever they do and some kind of magic appears and you do an equivalent change to make sure that that screwdriver has enough weight of the metal and the plastic so that we could have an equivalent change of it.
Nice. Damn, you're on it, dude.
So.
You were on it. You did watch that anime.
I did a little bit of watching before the show.
Me too, actually. Yeah. So, that's pretty much it. I'll go ahead and recap that. So, it was in Full Metal Alchemist, the concept of equivalent exchange is stated that, and quote, in order to obtain or create something of equivalent value must be lost or destroyed.
Yeah.
So. This is broken down into basically two parts. So there's the law of conservation of mass, which states that energy and matter can neither be created from nothing nor destroyed to the point of elemental non-existence. So let's say, for example, if you were to create an object weighing 1 pound, right? Like you said, you basically need 1 pound of material to do that.
Yeah.
And then when destroying an object of 1 pound, its broken down parts have to together equal 1 pound.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So that's the first of conservation of mass. The second part is the law of natural providence. And that states that an object or material made of a particular substance or element can only be transmuted into another object with the same basic makeup and properties of that initial material. So an example of that would be if you wanted to make an object or material made mostly of water, that can only be transmuted into another object with the same attributes of water.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Essentially. So now the comparison to alchemy. So do you believe that in alchemy there is something similar to this, or even the actual laws of equivalent exchange within alchemy?
Can you repeat that one more time?
So we discussed, in Full Metal Alchemist, they have these laws that they have to abide by in order to perform alchemy.
Yeah.
So do you think there is either the same thing in real alchemy or something that's similar to it? That there's these specific laws that they have to follow?
Yeah, I think there has to be some kind of law they have to follow by if they're going to do some kind of alchemy. I mean, for example, if, like I said, if I was living back in the days and I'm trying to make some kind of herb, I mean, if I put too much of the red herb, this is going to come out crappy. But if I put the exact amount of herb every time with the red and green, it'll come out the exact same antidote and it'll come out perfect. So I think there's certain laws and certain instructions that you have to follow by for,
I think in that sense, that's more of just them experimenting themselves, you know. But I guess more kind of like in a sense, because that's just like, okay, how do I bake a cake? Well, I need, a pound of flour, I need some sugar, I need this and that, right?
Yeah.
So that's just them doing their thing. But with the laws of equivalent exchange, like in that sense, is they can't get around that, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Where, if you're baking a cake, you can kind of mix and match stuff. You don't have to use flour if you don't want to. You could try using dirt if you wanted to, technically.
Yeah.
So they're not really following those. There's not a set of rules in that sense.
Okay.
But well, I guess what it is that I went through and I started kind of researching it, and there wasn't anything in particular that they had laws to abide by in a sense. But one of the things, and I mentioned it previously, was the Emerald Tablet.
Yeah.
Okay,
with
so
the pharaoh, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So this and the Emerald Tablet, like I was saying, it was translated, and probably most notably translated was the father of modern science, Sir Isaac Newton.
Oh, okay.
So Sir Isaac Newton?
Yes.
You know him?
I remember the Newton anime or cartoon.
There's an anime?
No, not anime. That little cartoon. There's a little guy named Newton, and
really?
he's like a really smart scientist guy or whatever it was. I used to watch it because my little cousin Serena, she used to watch that anime, and then it always pop out this little smart little kid, and his name's something Newton.
Okay, I've never seen that before, actually.
Yeah, it was one of those it's not really anime. It's more like I would say American cartoon.
Oh, okay.
So it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, but and one of the most interesting things is that Isaac Newton was rumored to be a huge alchemist, actually.
Oh, okay.
So this is a dude that created like these modern laws and stuff for gravity and like motion and everything that we follow today, even. And he was an alchemist, actually.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it was kind of one of his like dark sides, and like people didn't really talk about it. But then as they started releasing his records and documents and stuff, they started figuring it out. And it was something that he was very, very interested in.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was his translation that was probably the most famous one, actually. So he got the old Latin literature and like translated the stuff that was written on the Emerald Tablet.
Yeah.
And I guess, like I was saying, it was written almost like the Ten Commandments.
Okay.
And it was a list. And essentially, in Newton's translation, what I wanted to do was both you and I go through the translation.
Okay.
And figure it out. So I'm gonna steal like a little bit from our friends Scott and Mike Read a Poem. So that's another podcast. If you guys want to check them out, go ahead. It's a great show, actually. But our buddies over there, what they do is they read old Shakespeare literature and they try to translate it. So I thought it would be kind of fun if what we did was read the Emerald Tablet stuff and try to give our thoughts on it to see what we think it means.
Yeah, that would be interesting and fun. And what was their podcast name again? So give that to all of our audience.
Scott and Mike Read a Poem.
Okay. Yeah, you guys check it out. I mean, they're good friends, so they have podcasts themselves, and check it out. And
you can find them on iTunes, Stitcher, and just through the web too. Scott and Mike Read a Poem. But what we're going to do is Franky and Davis read an Emerald Tablet. So we'll take turns. So I'll go ahead and tackle the first one. So number 1, and mind you, this is written like old school style, so we're probably going to like have a lot of trouble with this. But number 1, 'tis true without lying, certain and most true. You want to take a stab at that?
This true without lying, certain and most true. So the only thing that comes to my head is like, hey, don't lie and tell the truth.
That's the only
thing I can think of.
I think this one's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Be honest, don't lie.
Yeah.
And, be true.
Yeah, be true to yourself, be true to everyone. Don't lie. Only lie about the little things that won't kill you.
Don't lie, but just lie about small stuff.
You know, if you tell your wife or your husband the truth about every single little thing, your ass gonna be in the doghouse, all right? So,
Frankie, the first rule of alchemy is 'tis true without lying. It says it right here.
No. I'm gonna break number 1's rule.
You're failing alchemy school, dude. All right, number 2. You want to go ahead and read this one?
That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to do the miracles of one only thing.
So what's below is like what's above is like what's below, and it's the miracle to do one only thing.
The only thing I could think about that is everything has to be correspondence. Like everything's like in a actual shape. Like, for instance, example, like a circle. The only way to make a circle is going to be a complete, it has to be equal all the way around.
Okay.
So that's, like the above and below has to be the same and side to side. I don't know. That's
for me. What I'm thinking is that it sounds like everything is the same, because it's saying what's below is above and what's above is below. So when I hear that, I think it's like it doesn't matter. Like it's all the same, and it all comes from one thing.
Okay.
That's just my guess, but yeah. I'm not too certain. Any alchemists out there are probably yelling at us right now. So you guys are idiots.
Well, no, it makes sense, because that's what kind of came to my head, where everything kind of has to be the same, because above has to be the same thing as below. So
okay. All right, number 3. And as all things have been and arose from one by the meditation of one, so all things all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. So all these things have been and arose from one meditation of one. So all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation.
The only thing that would come to my head is like I'm sitting there meditating, and then somehow like you finally find the enlightenment for like after 20 years, that baby pop out of you. I don't know why this visual pops into my head.
So you're sitting there for 20 years and to finally figure it out, and a baby comes out of you?
Yeah. I don't know why, but that's like the first thing that came into my head.
That's intense. Usually it takes a lady 9 months, but it takes us 20 years. So, or it takes an alchemist 20 years to have a baby. That's nuts. Well, I don't know. I mean, going back to like their whole outlook on, spirituality, knowledge and everything. Yeah. Maybe that you're right. Maybe because when you said the meditation and stuff, it's has been arose from one by meditation of one.
Yeah, the only thing that when you think of meditation, you got to figure out some kind of spiritual, some kind of enlightenment you got to reach.
This one thing by adaptation. Okay, so maybe it's this. So they believe in like maybe that aspect of self-improvement, right? So when you meditate, it's from one being arose by meditation. So maybe it's when you're in deep thought of yourself, and you really are conscious of your decisions and everything. At that point, they consider it birth from adaptation, not literally having a kid, but I know. you're reborn as a new person, and that you have adapted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I think your way sounds better.
No, I only say that because I don't know the pain of having a baby, so maybe someday. But
after 20 years of meditation,
I gotta start doing it right now, and then I'll Here's Davis Jr. So. All right, number 4.
The sun is father. The moon is mother. The wind hath a carried it in its belly. The earth is its nurse.
What do you think of that?
So the sun's the father, the moon's the mother, the wind carried. It sounds, I don't know.
So for me, I think going back to their belief of like the elements, right?
Oh yeah.
So they believe in like earth, fire, wind, and water. So I see the sun is its father.
So it's kind of like the godfather.
The moon is its mother.
Mm-hmm.
The wind has carried in its belly, and then the earth is its nurse.
I'm thinking like the sun's like the ultimate god, I guess, of the sun. The moon's like the next step of the other god that nurtures and carry.
Mm-hmm.
The wind is just annoying.
It's like gas in the stomach. The wind hath carried in its belly. It's like, oh, when you eat that burrito and
and I guess like the earth is more like, you know, we all live on earth, and it's kind of like our nurse, and you know, take care of you.
That's right, actually.
So
okay, yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, because back then, you know, when they looked at the things in the sky, they believed it to be celestial and like, you know, otherworldly. And yeah, you're right, because we all live on the earth, so it's like our mother, and then the wind in its belly. So maybe, you know, the wind's like circling around the earth and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like in its belly, considered maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, possibly.
Very cool. Number 5, the father of all perfection in the whole world is here. The father of all perfection in the whole world is here.
Huh. So maybe they created a perfect philosopher's stone, and they finally...
It's possible.
Yeah, and they say, you know, that's... Instead of calling the philosopher's stone, they call it our father, you know, of all perfection. I don't know.
The father of all perfection in the whole world is here. Or, yeah, either they found out what it was.
Mm-hmm.
They found the philosopher's stone, and maybe he's referencing that. Or it's just stating that anything that we need is going to be on the earth, and you can create perfection from it. I don't know.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, that's kind of tricky. But all right, number 6.
Its force or power is entire if it be covered into earth.
Converted into earth.
Oh, converted into earth.
Its force or power is entire if it be converted into earth. The hell?
I don't know. Its
force or power is entire if it be converted into earth. I wonder if this means
the
that
lava. They found out lava in the earth, and like a volcano kind of erupted.
Oh, maybe.
The force of power entire.
Dude, imagine if you never saw a volcano before, and you saw a volcano. That'd be the scariest thing ever.
I don't know. Maybe like if I was back in the days where like during that time, I'll just go back like, oh, that's pretty cool. Then you just like kind of walk towards it, I guess, in a sense. Like you kind of want to check it out because you're curious. But you know,
Earth's nectar. Let me take a drink from it. Ooh,
you're burning.
Its force or power is entire if it be converted into earth. See, I'm kind of getting a feel of like if you take an object and it has, they believe that maybe, let's say like I take a rock and they believe that it has some sort of force or life power. Even if it's a rock, they believe that there's some sort of energy or something from it.
Yeah.
And that if you were to quote unquote convert it to earth, which I think of like dirt, or crush it down, that its power is still there.
Okay.
That's kind of what I get a feel of. So regardless of if it's in one form or another, it still has its force or energy or power.
Yeah. Okay.
Regardless of, you know, its shape.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know, but we're learning how to be alchemists. So. Okay, number 7. Excuse me. Separate thou the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross sweetly with great industry. Separate thou the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross sweetly with great industry. Separate from the earth from the fire.
Is there...
So going back to the elements, so earth and fire is separate. And then the subtle from the gross sweetly with great industry.
I could just imagine like those guys back in the days, they made some kind of like firewood, and then they're like, oh, let's separate the firewood. They're all touching with their hands and stuff. Oh, it's so hot, but you create so much power. Oh, worship me.
Keep doing it, Franky. You're doing a great job.
I don't have my arms anymore.
It's okay. We'll replace them with automail. Interesting. I have no idea, actually.
I can't think of anything either. Separate the earth from the fire.
The subtle from the gross sweetly with great industry. All right, moving on. I'm lost. I'm completely lost with that.
It ascends from the earth to the heavens, and again it descends to earth and receives the force of things superior and inferior.
Okay, number 8. What do you think?
It ascends from earth to the heaven, and again it descends. I'm thinking pretty much if you ascend from the earth to the heaven, pretty much you die and your soul goes up into heaven. And again it descends to earth, so you're coming back from heaven down to earth and receiving the force of things superior to and inferior. And maybe a kind of like spiritual enlightenment where you go to heaven, come back down to earth, and then somehow you receive some kind of spiritual energy or some kind of new thing that enlightens you.
I can see
some
that.
kind of power.
I can see that.
Yeah.
See, I'm again, I always like to go back to the whole like mind or self-improvement thing. So ascending from earth to heaven. So maybe the whole spiritual thing, like through meditation even. Yeah. That once you meditate and you go out and you discover through like deep thought or something, just something, and you come back to earth, you awaken, and you have that knowledge. Yeah. So,
or it kind of remind me of the anime Bleach. Where you kind of died and you go into heaven, then you come back, it cycles you back into earth, and
you have to fight monsters.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, number 9. By this means you shall have the glory of the whole world.
By this means you shall.
I think it's simply just if you follow these instructions, you'll have glory. Right? You'll understand.
Yeah, you actually reach that enlightenment or whatever you're trying to seek.
You have the glory of the whole world. Yeah. In your hands, you got the glory.
In your hands. All right,
number 10.
Any thereby all obscurity shall fly from you. So I don't know why, but it just reminds me of like you're just sitting there and you freaking smell and a fly trap comes down to you, but it just flies away from you. Like, oh, it's too smelly. So bad. You smell worse than poop. The fly doesn't want to stick onto you.
Poop is more attractive than I am. Which I know the feeling of. So. And thereby all obscurity shall fly from you. I think that's pretty straightforward too. So number 9 was, if you follow by these rules, you'll gain glory. And then by gaining glory and following all these rules, there will be no ambiguity. Obscurity is gone. Like, you won't be like unaware of things. Like you'll know things. Or all supposedly the whole world, everything. Mm-hmm. Okay, number 11. Its force is above all force, for it vanquishes every subtle thing and penetrates every solid thing. Its force is above all force, for it vanquishes every subtle thing and penetrates every solid thing.
Sounds like Thor.
Yeah, it would be something he would say. My force is above all force. It vanquishes everything subtle and penetrates even solid. Oh, Thor.
So amazing.
But maybe that's it. It's just that the power you get. Yeah. It's the power you'll gain from this is above everything else, and you vanquish everything subtle, and you'll penetrate everything. And I know what you're thinking when I say penetrate. So I saw you smirking there.
Just a little bit. Number 12. So was the world created? So, I mean, pretty much, I guess from...
So with all of this, the world was created.
Okay. It's starting to get to somewhere. Okay. I have something at the end of this whole thing now. Something's come to my head. Okay. But, go on number 13.
I think that means that the world was created, Frankie. We're analyzing number 12 because this one's really deep.
I see where they're going with this now.
Okay, so number 13. From this are and do come admirable adaptations, whereof the means or processes is here in this. Hence I am called Hermes Trismegistus, having the three parts of the psychology of the world. So this is where that Egyptian dude was mentioned previously. So this is why they believe that he was like kind of the founder, because it sounds like he's saying that I understand these things, and these are the things that you need to follow.
Yeah. Okay.
And he put his name in there. Man, what a douche.
Dude, I'm not hating, dude. If I wrote all that shit, I'll put my name on it.
Why are 11 out of these 14 things just say Franky Tan a bunch of times?
Franky Tan. Mm-hmm.
Number 14's buy some jerky. Speaking of
Tan jerky chips. Hey, don't get our audience all happy. They're gonna text me and call me. Hey, what, you can start selling tan jerky chips again?
Well, are you?
No.
Then we add a number 15 to our updated list. Okay, so yeah, that's all I think it means. It's just he's stating that, these are the rules, and I understand them.
Yeah.
And shout outs to me. So the last one, number 14.
That which I have said of the operation of the sun is accomplished and ended.
The hell? That which I said the operation of the sun is accomplished and ended. So he's saying that the sun works a certain way, and that's it.
And it ends.
Yeah, so the sun turns around and smiles at you during the day, but it gets sleepy at night, so it turns away, and then the mommy moon comes out. That's it.
Yeah, and then you're in the belly of the wind, and then the earth will be your nurse and take care of you.
Whatever, Hermes, you're just making this shit up. But I mean, I guess these, if they were considered laws or or beliefs or something, is what alchemists abide by. So those are the 14 laws on the or written things on the Emerald Tablet. What do you think of that?
Man, I think that's I don't know.
Do you feel like an alchemist now? Because I sure do.
I feel my power coming on. Look, I just made a screw. But no, I mean, I don't know. From reading all this, and let's say I was this guy's assistant, right? And he started writing this stuff down.
Okay.
And then I'm just there back in days, and I'm just reading each scripture that he's writing. I'm just sitting there just laughing at him. Like, what the fuck are you writing? I don't know. I mean, I guess, I don't know, just kind of weird, like the way he just rewording everything. It just doesn't, I don't know.
I think it's interesting, actually. I think it's pretty neat. And then some of this stuff, like, I think it still applies today, even as silly as it sounds, yeah. But I don't know. I guess it's all perspective, right? It's all what you take from it.
Yeah, I guess what you take from it. And I don't know. I think this guy was just making up this BS Emerald Tablet, whatever it is, and just wants his name on it just to have glory in the future of 2015, so the Franky N Davis Podcast can talk about him. So, it just
his plan worked all along. See? Which is what the operation of the sun is accomplished and ended. So that was what he set out to be on our podcast.
Yeah.
He was right. Oh my God.
Good. I'm applauding to him. Give some clap.
Yo, Hermes, shout outs, bro. Holy cow, you did it. I don't know, but I think it's pretty cool. I think, and a lot of it, for me, a lot of this stuff, it's not physical. I don't think, like, obviously, you don't fire and earth separate, but I think it's more like kind of internal stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it comes down to, I mean, if I was living back in the days of that time period, then okay, yeah, maybe I would believe it more. But
oh man, a pharaoh's telling you this, dude. If you laughed at him, you'd die.
That's true.
You'd be like, all right, fine. Get it, Davis, new secretary. Franky's dead. we sacrificed him.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like, and I mean, people's gonna hate me for this when I say it, but I mean, I think there's a lot of made up stories towards, I guess, in alchemy or religion or whatever from back in the days, just to tell a story or just to make himself look good. Like a pharaoh, he's trying to put his name on his thing, or just any, I'm gonna use the Bible example because Bible is a really big thing, and there's like I'm not talking crap on God or your religion or anything else, but from my standpoint of view, in my opinion, that I think someone just made up the Bible, just like that. They just made up a bunch of stories and they just want to get their book out there or whatever they're trying to do.
See, I think regardless of if it was made up or if it wasn't, that it's just what is the context. Mm-hmm. And what does it do for you? So, let's say someone made up a story, but it was really grand and it was really good, and it taught people that, you should be a good person in life, right?
Yeah.
So regardless of whether or not it's real or not, as long as the message is portrayed in a good way, I think that it's fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, that's perfectly fine with me. Like, I'm not saying anything bad or whatever towards it. But like I said, as in believing the actual what they're trying to say, or in the tablet or in the Bible or in whatever, I don't believe it. But whatever they're trying to portray something good, yeah, I'm up for it. I'm happy for it.
See, and what's interesting though is that with alchemy, and actually now that I think about it, it's similar in Full Metal Alchemist, which is that they do actually write a lot in like secret or in code even. So this here, we can't really take a lot of it in face value. So there's a lot of hidden meanings and stuff behind it too. So
why the hell they got to make it so difficult?
Because
just be straightforward with it, so everyone will understand.
See, because you got to think about it. Back then, it was kind of like, it was a really highly like, it was kind of secretive, and like people that were alchemists were really highly sought, because people believed that if you found a dude that, let's say, could make rocks into gold, would you want to be spreading all of that information out and tell everybody exactly how to do it?
That's true. Yeah, you want to kind of keep that secret.
Hell yeah, you want to keep it a secret, because if anybody else figured it out, then you're not a special dude anymore, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I understand.
So a lot of this stuff they wrote in kind of code and things like that. But
they all explain everything doing the opposite way. Oh, this is power poop. What the hell? This thing tell me to take a shit in a bowl? What? That'd be funny if someone actually did that. Take half of your poop, put it in here, mix it with water and herbs, and you get gold.
You just got Trismegamus, bitch. So he was just out there to like troll people. Yeah, so
man.
That was the translations of the Emerald Tablet. So good job, Franky. We're alchemists.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the last thing that I want to compare is between Full Metal and real alchemy. Transmutation circles. You remember that from Full Metal?
Yep, definitely. I remember that. The only way, well, at least in the anime, the only way you could do some kind of power, you need some kind of special circle and drawings and stuff to convert it. Mm-hmm. When you have the equivalent item. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. So again, so basically in Full Metal Alchemist, when they wanted to perform alchemy, they had to go through a sequence, and essentially the sequence was comprehension, deconstruction, reconstruction.
Okay.
Comprehension was essentially understanding the inherent structure and the properties excuse me, of the atomic or molecular like makeup of the particular material being transmuted.
Okay.
Deconstruction was using energy to break down the physical structure.
Okay.
of the identified material into a more malleable state so they can easily reshape it into a new form.
Yeah.
And then reconstruction was continuing the flow of energy so that they can reform the material into a new shape.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So in order to perform transmutation, you need a transmutation circle.
Yeah.
And what that was if you think of, like, let's say a blueprint for a drawing of a house.
Okay.
So it essentially dictates like the flow of power, and it taps into energy from the earth. So that's why they always drew it on the ground or something.
Oh, okay.
And I know some people had it, like Mustang had it on his glove.
Yeah, and he did a little snap with his finger, and fire would just pop out and just burn everything down.
Yep. So within the transmutation circle, the specific, like, I guess, alchemy rules would have to be drawn out. And they actually had different, like, runes and stuff drawn in there too. And whatever was drawn out basically dictated how the energy was going to be used and what the desired effect would come out to be.
Yeah.
And then shapes such as, like, triangles were commonly used.
Okay.
And then when positioned in a certain way, it was capable of describing elements such as, like, earth, air, fire, or water.
Okay.
So that actually does tie into, like, alchemy too. So they stated that they do kind of believe in the elements as well too. And astrological symbols were used to represent a bunch of, like, other things as well too.
Okay, so basically their whole thing was based on, like, triangles, and, like, most of them. Is that what it is?
Not just triangles, but
the majority of it.
I don't know if it was a majority of it, but there's a bunch of shapes. So depending on the shape, it would represent something. But the triangle, because of, I guess, the basic 4 elements, like, when altered in a certain way, it would represent one of the elements.
Oh, okay.
So the triangle was kind of like the base shape, but there would be a lot of other shapes as well too. So real alchemy, transmutation circles, real, fake. What do you think?
I think, I mean, like I said, if my mindset was back in the days, yeah, I'll totally believe that. I mean, you have to draw, like, a certain thing, there's like a diagram, like you said earlier. It's kind of like the structure. You're trying to build a house, you need some kind of structure first, or like some kind of diagram to build. So same thing with, alchemy. You need to start somewhere. You need to draw a diagram. So, certain diagrams, you need either a triangle or circle or a square, something to start off with, and then within that you have to go on from there, and whatever the process is next,
Okay.
So yeah, I believe it. I mean,
so in real alchemy, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the desktop view so we can show some of the peoples out there. And if you're watching if you're watching the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see this, but we'll try to describe it as best as we can for you. So this is an example here of a Full Metal Alchemist transmutation circle. So this is the one actually for human transmutation.
This is the one from the anime, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at it, it's pretty elaborate, and there's all sorts of crazy shapes and symbols and stuff. And I think it looks cool as hell.
Hell yeah. I would have that tattoo. Have a tattoo on my butt.
And we know where the center would be. So
pile of poop come out. But yeah, that's a pretty cool design. I actually, dude, if I did have a tattoo of that, dude, I mean, I would actually, like, throw it on my chest or my arm or somewhere. It actually looks pretty damn cool.
So you'd be like Scar then.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's he had, like, a bunch of tattoo on his arm. Like, he cut off his arm, right?
Well, it was his brother's arm, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. His brother attached his arm to it,
I
but
totally forgot about him.
because his brother dealt with alchemy, and then that was his transmutation, like symbols and stuff. It was on his arm. But as far as the transmutation circles, like this one, there's alchemical glyphs actually, and then squaring the circle, I think is this one. No, actually, okay. So within real alchemy, there is actually symbols and stuff too that they use.
Oh, so this is the real alchemy then?
So these are real alchemist symbols here.
Okay.
So
okay.
So if you look here, there's what they call the 3 principles. You can see these basic shapes as well too. So there's triangles, circles, and for the 4 elements, like they described in Full Metal Alchemist, it is based off of a triangle. So if you have a standard triangle with the point at the top, that is considered a fire element.
Oh, okay.
It depicts fire. And then air with a line through the point at the top. If you flip it upside down with the point facing downwards, it's water. With a line through the point facing downwards is earth. And then I guess a cross or a plus is the elements.
The elements together, the fifth element you're talking about, the core one, like the philosopher.
No,
stuff?
I don't think it's considered that. It's just to reference like all of these. Then, so it's just you say a plus when it's all elements.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then planets and metals. And then this I thought was a little bit interesting here because it references back when we were reading the stuff on the Emerald Tablet. But there's moon, which corresponds to silver, mercury, quicksilver. Venus, copper.
That one looks like a little devil.
Yeah, it does actually. It has
right?
little horns. Yeah. So it looks like the symbol for a female, which is a circle and a plus symbol at the bottom, and then a little like crescent shape on its head. Venus, copper, sun, gold, Mars, iron, Jupiter. So very, like they believe in the planets and the whole celestial thing too.
Yeah, these guys kind of cheating. Like it came from, see where the middle, which one's the middle? Sun? Yeah, the sun looked like a 0. Then you come on to the next one. The one after that looks like a 4. Then it looks like a 5. These guys just getting numbers, dude. Cheaters.
It does look that. Jupiter is 4 and Saturn's 5. Oh my God, that's how they invented numbers. We're just making up all sorts of stuff today. But yeah, so in real alchemy, there was actually symbols that they did. And then moving on to the next picture. So actually, this is another chart essentially for all the different symbols. You can see there's a whole ton of them actually.
Holy crap, that's a lot.
Yeah, so they have acids. There's like earth materials. Here's your water. There's sugar, which looks like a little circle with a plus symbol inside of it.
Did they use this for like kind of what do you call it? Kind of secret code type of thing too?
Yeah, I would imagine. And also it probably makes it a little bit easier when they're writing out formulas and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
So then rather than having to write out the full word, they just draw the symbol.
Draw pictures and stuff, yeah.
So, I thought this was pretty interesting, actually.
How many is there? Goes up to what number?
Well, 59, but this is only just one of like an example, So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of other...
Gazillion more.
Yeah, literature out there to just like... depict a whole bunch of different other elements and things that they discovered. But I thought that was pretty neat. And then this one here, actually.
That looks like the freaking thing from the dollar bill.
Oh, the pyramid?
Yeah.
The all-seeing eye?
Yeah.
Then the Illuminati.
Yeah, you see the circle in the middle into an eye, dude?
Okay, so this here is actually a... alchemical glyph. So this was real alchemy, and this is what they drew.
Okay.
This was known as squaring the circle, and it was from around the 17th century, and it was basically the depiction on how to create the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, really?
So for people that can't see, it's essentially a circle with a triangle inside of the circle, with a square inside of the triangle, with a circle inside the square. And it's called squaring the circle. So essentially, this right here, this is how you create the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, we're going to do that after the show?
Yeah, it looks easy enough, right? So this is the whole thing where, like, writing in code and everything too. Because obviously, if this here tells you how to make lead into gold, you don't want anyone regular to know about it.
That's true, yeah.
But, I mean, granted, with just what we saw before, this means earth then, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a triangle pointed upwards.
Yeah.
I don't know what, and also you might even maybe think that this triangle
was
here,
that line?
And this here makes a, like a triangle as well too on the side here. So that you're not looking at just one big triangle, you're looking at 3 triangles, 4 triangles even.
And even like in the middle circle part, and then there's like a little kind of triangle right there.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. So unless if maybe this line means crescent for like moon or something.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, this was supposedly this is how you do it. This is how you make a Philosopher's Stone.
Maybe these guys just drew some pictures and threw it out there and saying just to fuck with your mind. How many triangles in there, huh? Do you know? That's what I thought. You didn't know. You forgot this one.
Oh man, so obvious. Yeah, so that is a real real ass alchemy symbol, so like in Full Metal, not as like fancy or anything, but they actually did use them.
Yeah, I prefer the anime one. That one looks way better.
Now this one's pretty crazy.
Whoa, what is that? That's looks like a bunch of scribbles everywhere.
Yeah, this one's pretty nuts. So this here supposedly was, I guess it was inspected by a Freemason, and I guess he cracked some codes within it. There's symbols and signs that were broken down, and they found there was a connection between this here.
Okay, so for all the people that can't see and just listening, is actually,
I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like a big circle. Then there's like lines going left, right, up, down. Then there's a bunch of smaller circles that goes into it, and then I don't know. There's just so many lines going everywhere, but somehow it's connecting. I'm not sure exactly how, but
yep.
It's just, you guys have to watch the video to actually see it. I can't really explain it.
Yeah, but essentially, or apparently, a Mason, went through and like deciphered the codes and everything, and they found actually connections between this glyph or this drawing here.
Yeah.
And it was connected to, I guess, really important building structures located in London. And then upon further research, they actually found out that there was a secret society, and the secret society, I guess they studied like mathematics, metaphysics, alchemy. Yeah. And they secretly encoded information into the design of the building itself.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Damn, that Freemason guy is freaking smart, because when I was just looking at it, I was like, what the fuck is that? It's just dots and circles and circles and circles and more lines and circles. I'm like, okay.
See, that's the whole thing, right? Because it's a secret.
Yeah.
So we look at it, we see gibberish, but somebody looks at it and they understand it. They have that knowledge, they have that power, and they see something totally different. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
And I kind of like have another question. We're like, dude, who's that hand model? Looks pretty sexy. Finger right there.
I think it's an old lady, actually.
Oh. It's okay. I don't have to see her face. She has nice hands.
She'd be a hand model. But yeah. So that's, and in real alchemy, they actually did use those type of transmutation circles and whatnot. So I was pretty surprised to find out that it actually did exist.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. But I guess
do you think that's where the Full Metal Alchemist kind of came from? Would they actually read up about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure, because if they just coincidentally made up stuff similar to it, then I'd be like, damn, you got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, in Full Metal Alchemist is a really damn good storyline. So
yeah, I'm sure they did the research. Yeah. They looked into alchemy and stuff, and they got a lot of it right, actually, which I thought was neat. So I guess getting close to like finishing out the segment and everything, but this is the last like burning question I got for you.
Okay.
Now, do you believe that through alchemy, someone was able to turn lead into gold? Because this lead to gold was probably the most famous iteration of the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of alchemists, that was their Philosopher's Stone. They wanted to create lead into gold. Because if you think about it, if you're able to do that, you change the world basically back then, because kings and stuff, man, any king would want to snatch you up, and then you're taken care of, and all you do is just pump out gold.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anyone converted lead into gold, because in my opinion, because from hearing the story, of being an alchemist, you kind of have to get like a equivalent kind of exchange. So you need to find the right properties to convert the lead into gold. But I'm not a scientist myself. I don't know what the hell
you're
lead, not. I don't know how lead is. What properties you need in lead. I don't know what properties you need in gold. So I have no clue. Unless the guy actually just got some kind of lead metal and just painted gold. Then, hey, here's gold.
We did it, boys. Franky, you're a genius.
Thank you.
Don't touch it.
You can scrape off the paint.
Okay. So I guess back in the 16th, 17th century, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to set up the scenario for you. So it might have been possible for someone to have done this scenario.
Oh, okay.
So the first thing is they would take sodium hydroxide. They would heat it up. and then they'd heat it up within like a liquid, and then what you do is you add a zinc powder to it.
Okay.
Okay. Then at that point, and they had these back then, was you take let's say a piece of copper or copper coin.
Okay.
And you would dip that into the mixture, and the copper would actually start turning silver.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So then from that point, the silver coin, when you pull it out, what you do is you apply a bit of heat to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the silver, it turns into gold.
Oh, so it's kind of like painting it, but you're permanent painting.
Well, okay. So to I guess like talk about the actual process that's going on, but remember, you're a dude in medieval times, and you just you're going through, you're doing these processes. You freaking created. You turn something into copper into gold.
Yeah. Does it look exactly like gold when he was heating it up? Like
Yeah,
after it's done?
It would be like a brass color, so which is like gold.
Yeah.
You look at it, you think it's freaking gold back then.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
that's pretty freaking crazy. I mean, like you were saying earlier, fuck, if I was a king, fuck, I'll snatch the guy up. Hey, make me more fucking gold. Come
Yeah.
on, dude. I want to be fucking filthy rich and fucking dominate the whole land with it
Mhm.
and tell people what to do, and just here's a penny of gold. And then you get that person do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So,
But to go back to that experiment, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
back then, if an alchemist did that, boom, they did it. They hit the Philosopher's Stone.
okay.
Of course, today though, we know that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
Because essentially, what the process is that when you're dipping that copper coin into the sodium hydroxide and zinc mixture,
Yeah.
all you're doing is you're zinc plating.
Oh, okay. Just covering it up in a sense.
So the zinc is attaching itself to the copper,
Yeah.
and then when you apply the heat afterwards, it's basically what's it called? It's
Burning it and darkening up the color, or
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah, the zinc is it's migrating from the copper,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gives it a gold appearance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but it's something that could have possibly happened. I don't think there's any historical record of it happening,
Mm-hmm.
but you never know. But again, back in those days, hell, if you did that, fuck yeah, man, you created gold. Like,
Yeah, man, I'll be making like porn shops and stuff like that off of that back in the days.
wait, what? How would you
cool,
do
man.
that?
Yeah, with my knowledge now, bring it back into the days and start making gold. I'm making those porn sweatshops and stuff. Girl, take off your clothes. Here's a penny of gold.
Oh, okay. I thought that like through some sort of chemical process, you would create a porn shop. Like, that'd be incredible.
I make the circle and the freaking triangle. And
Clap your hands.
Porn shop. Here it is.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, I think all in all, to kind of start wrapping things up, like Full Metal, not too bad actually, from like real alchemy.
Yeah, I mean, from the sound of like the actual storylines and the actual, anime, dude, everything sounds pretty on point and pretty similar to it. And it's crazy how I never knew till Davis brought up this podcast show that alchemy was real.
Yeah.
And it's nuts to think about that. So
Yeah, I found alchemy like completely fascinating. It's just right up my alley for as far as like stuff that I like to read about and stuff. I
wonder if like what do you call it, like if people did study alchemy, those are the people that was considered witches and evil wizards, and they would burn those people back in the days, maybe.
I think alchemists were kind of like it's weird because they were looked down upon,
Yeah.
but they were also kind of like really their whole thing about like the spiritual aspect, meditation and stuff, they were very hermit like. So they wouldn't be out and like, promoting, hey, I'm an alchemist and like trying to get stuff. They'd just be in their lab working away. you know? So I don't think they were ever condemned to like witchcraft or anything, but some people, especially like we said, if you're a king and you believe a dude can turn lead into gold, you're going to, give him a good, you're going to take him in and you're going to make sure that he gets everything he needs to do so.
And make his porn shop.
Yeah, and make his porn shop. And then, but yeah, I think also a lot of other people probably didn't believe in it or whatnot. So it was very up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, even if you try to bring up some kind of new invention now and try to like, hey, here's some new thing, and it's going to be people skeptical about it until you actually prove it. So same thing back in the days. I guess there are skeptical people too.
Yeah, of course.
About it. So
of course. Yeah, but for me, it was the whole like mystical, spiritual approach. I really liked it, and then they actually did dabble in real science, real chemistry, and like and overall, like the idea of like the Philosopher's Stone, and like turning lead into gold or creating like an elixir for immortality and stuff. Like, I don't really believe in that, although I believe that they probably were trying to do it.
Yeah.
But I think of the Philosopher's Stone more of like the whole self-improvement thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what I take from like this whole alchemy like research that I did, that through learning, experimentation, that essentially we all have a Philosopher's Stone within each one of us,
Yeah.
so that we can, through knowledge and stuff, become better.
Yeah. Fuck that. I want to make my porn shop.
That's your Philosopher's Stone.
I want my powers. I want to make the circle with the triangle and poof, my porn shop will come out.
So on that note, let's wrap this thing up. So Franky, you got any shout outs or anything you want to give?
Thank you guys for listening. I love you guys, and peace out and enjoy the show. We'll come with more shows and keep listening.
All right, guys. And once again, thank you to all of our listeners out there. On behalf of Franky, myself, take care, and we'll see you guys next time.